1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and by Brookside Medical. Here are Josh Peterson and Connor Happer on 1620 The Zone.
All right, here we go. I think this is day 4 of the College World Series.
Sounds right.
I'm Connor Happer, Josh Peterson here as well. We're at the Omaha Baseball Village getting you ready for Game 7 of the College World Series today. It's an elimination game between Stanford and Auburn. And then we have we'll have a fun night game tonight with Arkansas and Ole Miss, the two teams that are battling for supremacy in the shot battle across the street, the Jello shot battle across the street, which should be a lot of fun. But here we go, Josh. This is my first time out here. I've been in the stadium for the last 3 days. I actually didn't even know that it was Monday until about 15 minutes ago.
Oh,
so
nice.
Here we are.
Oh, so you're feeling pretty good then. You're not loopy at all.
No,
not
at all.
To know what day or time it is.
Yeah. Well, we had our Bible verse on the wall, which is still up there in the studio, and I think we're staying, really true to that.
Good.
For the first couple of days.
Good. The Bible verse of the day.
But this should be a lot of fun. We have some things to get into. Yes, we'll talk some baseball, but yes, we'll talk some other things too. We'll talk Casey Thompson's thumb.
Oh, what's going on there?
I don't know. There was a story in the World Herald that I read. It was like, yeah, he's not all the way back.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that there was a back that he needed to be all the way to.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's sort of interesting.
Awesome.
We have Kyrie Irving doing things,
existing as he usually does on another plane.
Yep. And we'll get to Mike Schaefer and we'll talk some recruiting at 11:30. Here on the show today. This is the Connor Happer Show, live from the Omaha Baseball Village here at the Men's College World Series. And it's powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours. We are off and running. Josh, it was very fun over the weekend to get to be in the ballpark.
Good.
I think we have a favorite in the College World Series that has emerged, not just because they're 2-0. They're playing the best baseball, and that's Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did, over the first 2 days. So that's where I'm at with that right now. They've looked like the best team pretty easily so far.
Yeah, a couple things off of that. I do want to see what happens with Arkansas later today. So I'd start there. But
I know what Arkansas did the other night, but
because
Oklahoma,
of how many of those runs came later,
it's just complete. They just feel complete to me.
Yeah, and I think with Oklahoma right now, they beat the team that beat the team. And I know that the Notre Dame Tennessee series was last week, but just such a strong start to the postseason for Notre Dame over the last few weeks, and then they continued it on day 1 on Friday night against Texas. And so last night for me, I'm with you. That was a very impressive victory, just given kind of where I had been viewing Notre Dame over the last 2-3 weeks.
Well, I just think they play a style. Oklahoma, I just think they play a style that really works, and they got everybody hitting in the lineup right now. They're not just hot. There was a coach earlier this week that was like, yeah, you're gonna run into a couple different things here at the College World Series. They're either really hot or really good, and Oklahoma's both right now, and they've been playing really, really well lately. And now everybody's hitting, and they're getting good pitching as well. And they play a style that works. They don't have to hit the ball out of the yard. Go back to the Super Regionals where they're playing in ballparks that are maybe like 350 feet to dead center field. And they're hitting the ball over the fence, and it's pretty easy. Oklahoma doesn't need to hit the ball out of the park to win games.
Sure.
And I think that's, sort of one of the things that's going to carry them here. The wind has been a factor all week. It's been blowing straight in. It's hard to get a ball out here anyway. But I just think they're the pretty clear favorite. And yes, they're 2-0, so it goes sort of without saying, but I think they're the pretty clear favorite.
Yeah, and they absolutely dominated last night. Just kind of running away and hiding really, really early in that game, doing a great job at keeping the Notre Dame bats at bay, only allowing a couple of runs throughout that. So, yeah, I still want to see what Arkansas does tonight, but, yeah, Oklahoma has put together quite the start through for them, 2 games.
Hey, we horns down yesterday. Texas is gone.
This is great news.
What happened?
Sadness.
And I didn't think that there wasn't like a huge contingency of Texas fans either, as you normally see. I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
And I think if they would have maybe won a game, they would have started to talk a little bit.
Sure.
But they're gone very, very quietly from the College World Series.
Yeah, I'd said it a few times over the weekend. I love that we got another one of those historic college rivalries in a postseason game. We got Duke and North Carolina, of course, in the Final Four, and that had followed the last Coach K game at Cameron Indoor, and so it gives North Carolina bragging rights until the end of time, until the world is gone. They will still be able to brag about that. I don't know if I want to say that about Texas A&M knocking Texas out of the
Right.
College World Series. It's not that important, but just given the relationship between these two schools, and literally both of their fight songs reference the other school.
Yeah.
And now, we're who knows how many years, but we're a certain set of years away from them being conference mates again, whenever they figure out the exit deal.
Are we going to figure that out at some point in the next, a couple months?
I would hope so. It's going to be pretty funny when there's a 14-team Big 12 because all those other teams join it, and then they're like, hey, Texas and Oklahoma, we're going to give you guys the worst schedules imaginable in football.
That's what we're preparing for. We're preparing for a super Big 12 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
For the next 2 years.
Yeah, and so that they got the victory over them, that they knocked them out of the College World Series right before that happens too. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Oh, it was hilarious. And they definitely don't like each other. The coaches downplay it, and it's a little bit of downplaying it. It's also it's hard to sort of get into it because there's so much else at stake this weekend. You want to stay in the tournament, obviously, but also you're in Omaha. You don't have the crowds. You don't have the crowd on top of you, like a home crowd on top of you or anything like that. So it sort of takes away from the rivalry piece of it. But Mike in Dallas, so he comes out afterwards. He's the winning pitcher yesterday for Texas A&M, and he was caught on ESPN just aggressively horns downing after the game. I didn't see that at the time because we talked to him right after the game, but I asked him about beating Texas, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that feels pretty good." I think that's pretty good. So you have that. That's one of the reasons that I think we miss Tennessee this week, because everybody would have been against Tennessee. It would have been Tennessee bringing their entire fan base, and then everybody against Bell. Tennessee. Yeah, Alan Bell.
I was going to be rooting for Tennessee. I love their brashness. I love their cockiness, but I like that in
big fan of crotch chops.
I love that type of stuff. I love teams that make people mad, and they would have made people mad, so I kind of gravitate towards those teams. I feel like if I would have been watching college football in the 80s, I would have been a mark for the Miami Hurricanes football teams. I just love that type of stuff. I love teams that make people angry.
Oh, yeah.
Because they remind you how good they are.
Elsewhere, so we have game one coming up here in just a few hours. We'll have John Bishop, Damon Benning, and Gary Sharp on the call at 12:40 today.
Nice.
With Stanford and Auburn. Those teams are both feeling it, I think, a little bit after game one.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn did not have a good offensive performance, and Stanford got drilled 17-2. They're sort of they're in bad shape right now.
And think about it too with Stanford, just given that game was close early, and then it just totally gets away from them having to use all those arms, and that's like that.
And I think they sort of, once you're down a certain amount, you're like, all right, we're going to take somebody from the way back end of the bullpen, and we're going to throw them out there, and we're going to say, hey man,
eat innings.
Just go.
Yeah.
Just go out there and pitch. Throw strikes. Please, God, throw strikes. Hey, that's been the whole thing with this College World Series. And we won't talk about College World Series this whole time, but let's start it off this way.
Okay.
I mean, this whole thing has been about walks, in my opinion. If you're walking people, it's a bad deal. I mean, you saw Texas A&M in their first game against Notre Dame. They walked, against Oklahoma, they walked everybody, and they're letting free guys on base. If you're not throwing strikes, it's trouble. Oh, that's the thing that Oklahoma's done so far. They haven't, they forced contact. They haven't walked anybody. Their two pitchers, I mean, not anybody, but their two pitchers have been really good through the first couple games. Ole Miss did that on Saturday night. The crisp pitching performances and not allowing guys on base and not making mistakes. I thought Texas A&M was going to get killed by the fact that they were making errors all over the place yesterday. And turned out Texas just did the same thing. They were booting the ball around the yard too. So in a championship format, you just can't make mistakes. It's about minimizing those, and whoever's making the most mistakes is going to go home.
Yeah, I listening to as much as I have so far, watching as much as I have so far, it seems like that's kind of the consistent through line with the way that the game is being called by like John and the TV folks is those mistakes and the errors that teams are making and just allowing innings to last longer, even if you end up like holding them to no runs or even one run, the inning lasting longer. And your pitchers having to use their arms for more pitches, just given that you didn't maybe get an easy out like you could have. It seems to have been the story through the first 3 days.
Josh Peterson, big baseball guy.
Hey, that's what I come here for.
It's huge. We're here. Stop by. Say hello. There's an extra microphone if you want to yell into it at some point.
Give us your takes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's the
Casey Thompson.
It's Monday at the College World Series.
Oh.
We're a day back, so this would usually be the first day with elimination games. It's the second day with an elimination game today. But if you want a chance to get your shopping done,
today's the day.
this is your day.
Yep.
This is your day. Take the morning off. Come down to the Omaha Baseball Village. There's plenty of great stuff going on in here. There's still good food outside. Grab a drink and then go into the game at 1 o'clock and watch a little Stanford Auburn.
Also, if you are a Texas fan, their stuff is cheap now. So you got that going for you as well. And sure enough.
Hey, they immediately threw up the 50%
That was
off.
great. Oh, Texas lost. Here you go. Buy it cheap. Auburn and Stanford. The same thing's going to happen with one of those teams today. Get their gear cheap.
Yeah, I think Stanford was coming in dead last in the shot game.
Yeah.
I might grab myself a 50% off Stanford shirt.
There
if they
you go.
lose today.
Big Cardinal guy.
Yeah, huge Cardinal guy, huge
Mhm.
Pac-12 guy.
Mm.
As always. We're here at the Omaha Baseball Village. The Connor Happer Show is here at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll take you up till 12:40 today before we turn it over to pregame with the guys over across the street at the stadium. Like we said, stop by. Plenty to do, plenty to look at, plenty to see. You can say hi to us. I have my bucket hat on again today.
Sure, yeah.
Josh is all zoned out.
I got the zone stuff, man. If Mark comes down here,
he's going to be very happy with you.
Because he's always saying that. Wear the zone logo. Boom. I don't have it on my shorts, but I could.
Yeah, you should.
I should give him some shorts to say, hey, can we get a zone logo on these bad boys?
Mark yesterday he was Texas A&M'd
I
out
saw that with his wife, yeah.
with his zone hat.
My wife. Look at that, supporting the brand. My wife. Way to go, Mark.
All right, we'll have some fun over the next couple hours here. We're live from the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll come back, and we'll get into a couple different things next here on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer, Josh Peterson back with you on the Connor Happer Show here from Omaha Baseball Village, where we are with you until we turn it over to the guys at Pre-Game, 12:40 for Auburn and Stanford. Hour 1 is presented by Union Bank and Trust. People don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. Okay, we get a couple tweets from that first segment. And Cowboy Kermit, Curtis, they're both like, hey, this whole horns down thing, Texas being out, has been fantastic, and I think I'm rooting for the Aggies now. Feels like a weird spot to be in.
Oh,
I don't think that would be the right play. Just because they beat Texas.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest. I don't hate Texas as much as a lot of people do around here.
I think Texas A&M is not the right place to steer.
Yeah, don't. No pun intended. I hope. Don't put your fandom energy into A&M is also like a weird place that I like rooting against too. So a couple of devils there. I rooted for one devil yesterday, but I'm not going to root for Texas A&M moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, I'm still rooting for Ole Miss.
And they, Josh and I were talking about this on the walk over here. Like, their brand of baseball is not particularly fun either.
Oh.
So yesterday before the game, we're sitting up there in Texas and Texas A&M. We're like, guys, I'm sorry to tell you this, but this game's going to be 4 hours at least, and it was 4.5, I think. So I mean, that was about right. They just grind out at bats, and it's
a slog.
That's part of a winning formula. Like they're gonna face 11 pitches in at bat or whatever it is. But they also are prone to mistakes defensively. Yeah. They walk guys on the mound. I don't know how they've gotten this far with kind of who they are and what they do. But they're prone to playing long games. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the issue with Texas A&M. I don't know if that's the team that you want to steer up. Like that doesn't scream fan favorite to me, Josh.
No, it doesn't. And John and I will talk about this a lot. What you are doing as a competitor should not really matter for the enjoyment of the product. Like Schlossnagle should not worry about being entertained. No. He should worry about winning. But it does get frustrating the further we get into the season, the longer that these games last, and how they do just turn into that absolute slog. And I know we spent a lot of time lately talking about pitch clocks. We've done so with you before.
Oh, the pitch clock.
I can't help but think about how much more enjoyable of a product yesterday would have been if there was something like that in place. And you wonder, after the success that it's had in minor league ball, let's see what happens when it's up in major league ball. If college could embrace something like that too. I hope that they do.
By the way, you can come by the zone booth at the bullpen inside the Omaha Baseball Village, register to win a prize pack of a grill, Kansas City Royals tickets, and ice cream for a year. That's at 13th and Mike Fahey. That's where we are right now. I mean, you want to talk about the pitch clock. There was a situation last night in the late game where the clocks in the stadium were off. Well, first of all, let's go back. Okay. So they don't enforce the thing. The clock starts at 20. It rolls down. It gets to 0, and nothing happens. I think we've seen a warning twice this weekend, but it's a warning, right? In minor league baseball, I think you get 14 seconds, and it's a ball.
Yeah.
Like if it hits 0,
they don't waste any time.
It's a ball. And it's not like the thing in college football where you can get to 0 and as long as you snap it like in the vicinity of 0. No, it's a ball if it hits 0. Like they're strictly enforcing it in minor league baseball this year. So it's a few more seconds first of all, and then they let it get down to 0. And as long as you're like close, it looks like you're going to deliver a pitch in the next 3 or 4 seconds, you're good. So there's that. First of all, they're not enforcing it. Second of all the clocks turn off in the stadium last night. They're having an issue with the technology.
So they're it's almost like a nice built-in excuse then at that point.
There's a clock in center field. That doesn't work. There's 2 clocks around home plate by the dugouts. They're not on either. So those aren't working. They're having a technology problem. And there was a situation last night where everybody thought the guy balked. The guy ran in from third, and the ump started pointing at their watches like there was a pitch clock violation. Like, what's going on here? So apparently each of the umps have stopwatches. And I was watching the third base ump after that. He's got a stopwatch where he's timing the guy, but they're still not enforcing it.
I was gonna say. So what's the point of doing all this stuff then?
It's a great point. The whole thing is a farce.
Yeah, it's pitch clock theater.
It's pitch clock theater.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
We'll make it pretend like we actually are doing that, even though we're not.
No, it's a total mess, and that only helps a little bit. It's certainly helped in minor league baseball, and I don't know if that's like, the solution. There's still ways to modify that. I know the players aren't exactly, aren't completely happy with it, even in play.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about with Marty Cordero as well, how
there's got to be a happy medium.
Yeah, because I mean, it's changing the product like a bit too much in a way, because it completely takes away concessions, or it lessens them in a pretty sizable way. So I think that there's there's a nice happy medium where maybe games don't need to be 215, but they definitely don't need to be 430. Can we get them? I think 2.5 to 245, I think is an awesome sweet spot. That's the length of like an NBA game. Yeah. I think that I like games of that length. Sometimes you get an NFL game that is that short as well. Definitely not anything like that in college football.
And you're only going to be able to control so much of it. I mean, there's still 3-hour plus minor league baseball games. They don't go much longer. Like, you don't see the 5-hour games. Mm-hmm. You don't see the 4.5 hour games in minor league baseball. So maybe like on the minor league side, it's a bit too aggressive, but I mean, why even have it? In college? Yeah, exactly. If you're not gonna
enforce it, get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Don't even, just stop pretending like you care about it. That's fine. At least you're admitting it.
Yeah,
I appreciate the honesty.
Thank you. They should be more honest.
Honest boys. That's what I want from the NCAA. Honest boys.
The honest boys. By the way, we are at the Omaha Baseball Village, where you can come by the Zone booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's, the official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. They have locations in Benson and downtown Omaha. Josh, all right, so we'll take you guys' tweets throughout the show today at Connor Happer, at Josh Tweeterson. It's good to have a co-host, by the way. Now, Josh O, back in studio, he's basically my co-host because
sure.
I can't sit here and talk for 4 hours. This is really, really difficult for me to do, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But it's good to have you here.
Hey, I'm happy to be here with you.
And so we'll be here for the next few hours, and it's good to do a show out here at the Village, even though it is already 85 degrees at 10:30.
It doesn't feel as bad as I think it did Saturday for me.
See, I thought yesterday was the worst day heat-wise.
Yeah.
But it was very comparable to
Saturday. I mean, the air was just so thick on Saturday.
It's splitting hairs between Saturday and Sunday.
But yeah, it does seem like today a little more comfortable, even though, like you said, it's already in the mid-80s. It's 10:30.
Are we in, do we have any sort of rain chance or threat anywhere in the next 10 days?
So I was looking at the forecast last night.
6 days, I guess.
Yeah, and it seems like, let me check just to confirm. Thursday and Friday might be the days that we're worried about. Now, Friday, no games are scheduled, so that's okay. Hopefully nothing stupid happens before then. Thursday,
yeah, Friday only happens if there's 2 games on Thursday and one of them's rained out.
Correct.
Or any of them are rained out, I guess.
Yeah, and so as long as it doesn't rain today and tomorrow and Wednesday ahead of that, then yeah, Thursday is just really the only day if they're the if necessary game. So it looks like it might have thunderstorms that night. So that would be and I guess in the morning too. So Thursday might be the day that we're most worried about. But if there's no necessary games, then
there may not be any Thursday games at all.
And then Saturday, thunderstorms, Monday.
And I tell you what, too, with the condensed schedule, and coaches have sort of commented on this week, like it's just going to be really. You get to 2-0, that's a good spot to be in, because if you're a team that loses that first game. And you got to fight all the way back to the losers bracket. In some cases, you got to be playing 4 games in 4 days just to get to the championship series.
Yeah,
your pitching is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody has that much pitching. Nobody.
And how did that game go too that you lost and put you in that position? Was it one where you got away with fewer pitchers, or was it one where you had to put a lot of guys out there? So yeah, the challenge of coming back to the losers bracket. It's always been pretty pronounced. But given now the condensed nature of the schedule, a little bit harder.
Hey, that's why you've seen teams really fire their bullets in the first two days of this thing, because they know they have to go 1-0 or 2-0. Like if you go 2-0, Oklahoma's off until Wednesday. They played yesterday; they're off until Wednesday. So yeah, you fire your bullets as early as you can, because you got to get to 1-0, you got to get to 2-0, and then if you drop one, then you're fighting to stay alive for the rest of the thing.
Sure.
All right, guys. Let's take a quick break here. We'll come back. More up next. Hour 1, by the way, presented by Union Bank and Trust. People don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. We're live at the Omaha Baseball Village, the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. All right, back here at the Omaha Baseball Village, the Connor Happer Show is with you, and we'd like to welcome our partner, ADT Solar, joining us on site this weekend. ADT Solar, powering homes, empowering people. Josh, where are we at on hype for Nebraska football right now? Are you hyped?
Look, man, it's late June.
I know. Have you read the preseason magazines yet?
No, but I am getting very excited for football season. I've reached the point. I've reached the point of the off season now where I am. Like, look, do I want to fast forward? No. I enjoy my time not having to sit down and watch something every night, kind of having a little more control, because I'm not, unlike you, I'm not a baseball guy. So I'm not going to go home every night all summer long and watch baseball. I can watch shows, I can watch movies, I can read.
You gave up on the Royals after 10 seconds.
Yeah, they suck this year. So I reached a point where I am.
How dare you?
Very much ready. I'm ready for the football. A gambling podcast that I listened to, they had their first preview pop up over the weekend, I was like, oh wow, it's time.
Well, it's late June.
Yeah, I know it's time.
The solstice is tomorrow.
I am hype AF.
You're hyped for the solstice?
No, because now the days are about to be shorter. I don't like that. I don't like when we're going to lose out on the sunlight.
What time is the sunset tonight? Like 9:05 or something like that? It's after 9, isn't it?
Yeah, we are at. It says 9 o'clock on the dot tonight, according to my weather
9
app.
o'clock.
But I think that's like when it kind of. I don't know, like when
you get light for another 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, we got light close to like 10 now. It's pretty sweet, but it's like this is the end, and now it's about to be fall.
Yeah,
so the countdown is on.
Well,
100 days to college football.
That means it's time. Oh, look, Jordan tweets in. He says we are 69 minus 1 days away from Husker. Wait,
so it's 68 days? Is that what you're saying, Jordan?
That can't be right.
I think it is.
We're in the 60s. I feel like it was 100 yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I guess here, what's the date? August 27th? How many days away is August 27th? This is great content.
Yeah, it is.
68 days.
69. So 68 plus 1.
Holy crap. So it was 10 weeks from Saturday?
Wait a minute.
Wow. It's almost here.
I could have sworn we were 100 days from college football like last week.
No, that was a few weeks ago.
Oh, my God.
For us on a Sportsman Iconic, we're always 100 days to college football.
People
That's what
forget that.
People forget, yes, indeed. But wow. It's 10 weeks now. Very cool.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I am. I just think.
Well, I can tell.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I think Nebraska has to beat Northwestern or everything will start on fire.
Yeah, that would be bad. That'd be bad. That'd be like last year, the pessimism after the Illinois loss, like child's play compared to a loss to Northwestern.
But that all came true. Like, this is what I want to remind people of. Like, simple. I remember talking about this all last summer, and I remember bringing it up to Sipple, like, hey, and it wasn't news. This game is super important, obviously, and if they don't win, it's going to spell really big trouble. And Sipple would always be like, yeah, well, you got to be careful because, who am I to say they can't lose to Oklahoma or lose to Illinois and then come back and win their next 6 or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess I get your point. You look at the games in the individual vacuums, like theoretically.
Yep.
There is a chance that could happen. But guess what? They lost to Illinois last year, and everything sucked afterwards.
Yeah. I remember last year.
It played out exactly like we thought it would during the summer, which is something that we definitely need to remember. We're smarter in the summer than we are in the fall when our judgments are clouded.
Couldn't agree more. There are countless times last year that I said, if they lose to Illinois, 3-9 is on the table. I said that on the air a bunch of times. And oddly enough, I picked them to lose that game, but I still said that they would go 5-7. I didn't see them going ultimately 3-9. But I don't know if we could say the same thing this year. The schedule on paper is a little easier. Not having Ohio State is massive. But if they lose this game, I mean, obviously a sub 500 season is on the table, and I think you might be looking at 4-8.
What if Casey Thompson's thumb isn't ready?
See, now honestly, man. What is going on here? What's going on with the thumb?
I have no idea. It's very confusing. So I read, I think it was Evan Bland wrote this, a couple days ago?
Yeah, I think on Saturday.
I was just catching up on Nebraska stuff a little bit. So I read through this, and there's a portion of the story where it's like, yeah, I feel really comfortable. I throw the ball. Here's a quote from Thompson. He says, I like to throw the ball 4, 5, 6 times a week. I'll go back to basically throwing every day of the week. There's this sense in the story of like, he is still working to get back.
Yeah, let me go to the third paragraph real fast. Thompson has half an hour to chat with a reporter before he needs to be in the training room for treatment on the right thumb he injured on a play against Oklahoma more than 8 months ago. After that, he'll look into any more time he can get with the coaches or offensive teammates. Like, because I don't. There was a listener who reached out a few minutes ago, Devin, and said, "Please, no, wait, not that one." Basically, it's like, where was this? Here it is. Why didn't we hear about a thumb injury when he first announced his transfer? I don't want to read too much into this, but I'm going to read too much into the guy.
No, we knew the thumb.
We knew about the thumb.
We knew about the thumb.
I don't think that we knew that apparently it's still affecting him in some way, shape,
Correct.
That is new information.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just the assumption with injuries of like, hey, he's here. It's the off season. We're going to address it. We're going to take care of it. And then you know what happens after you address it? Yeah, it goes away.
Sure, right? You would think so.
It does not appear as if it has gone away.
No, and I think that Patrick brings up a great point. He says we should be worried because he isn't good enough to not be a full practice participant, especially while learning a new offense with new wide receivers and a huge question mark at offensive line. His healing process isn't the main issue. It's all the aggregate things not getting done. And I think that's a tremendous point from Patrick. Like, if something is going on with the thumb, like, the health of that is of course the most important thing. Paramount is going to be getting that healthy because all the other stuff's not going to matter if he can't throw a football very well. Okay, but if we push that aside and we assume by August 27th, 68 days away,
people forget
that he's going to be okay. It's this type of stuff that we've spent a lot of time talking about lately, the chemistry, the lack of chemistry. I mean, think about half the offensive line and just, you know, how little they've gotten to work together because guys, presumed starters, two guys, weren't participants in spring football. He's still got to learn them. New wide receivers, just a bunch of new players. Like chemistry, we often talk about it every year, how important it is. And if you're not able to practice and kind of learn the rhythms of a player, learn how they run their routes, learn how they pass block, it sets up to be at least somewhat of an issue.
Josh, I'm sure you've felt this too, but there's this sort of like, when Casey Thompson was here in spring, I was like hammering the idea of like, guys, can we just not? Can we just say out loud that Casey Thompson is a starting quarterback and just like move on from it?
Yeah.
And ever since then, my confidence has just been steadily decreasing.
Same. I reached out to multiple people saying, what is going on? Why has this conversation around him shifted from Mark Whipple on day one of practice compared to, I mean, now it's June 20th, but along the way, I've been in that same boat of obviously going to be the due to. Is there something here that we are all missing? And maybe this explains a little bit of that.
Is it going to continue to devolve over the next month before they start camp? Before they start camp, 5 weeks, I guess. Where are we going to be talking about a quarterback battle in August?
I think we will be. I think I'm confident now in saying that it's. I mean, it still could be Casey Thompson for sure, but I'm nowhere near confident like I was earlier this offseason.
And then you paired that along with Chubba wasn't healthy in the spring. They just, it's like, let's go play the spring game.
Yep.
And see what happens. And I think they like what they saw out of him in the spring game from what I heard.
Yep.
And
you wonder what the coaches feel. What does Frost think? Who does he like the most? What does Whipple think? Who does he like the most? And then really too, how are they working with their teammates?
Well, and then
not to mention Logan Smothers.
There's the Logan thing too, and how do you use him even if he's not your quote unquote starting quarterback? I think we're going closer and closer here as far as this goes to it getting interesting.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. At the very least, this thing is going to get interesting. And you know what sucks, too, for Nebraska? And Adam brings this up. This is now the second straight offseason where maybe a reoccurring or a previous injury kind of popped up. Do not forget about Marquise Stepp last year.
Yeah.
Remember when he first signed with Nebraska, he was supposed to be the dude. And then very quickly it was like, oh, hey, he injured his foot in spring ball. Oh, hey, he had a previous injury with his foot.
I genuinely think that they didn't know about that, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was
the difference. Thompson, I think they knew.
Definitely.
I mean, they knew that the thumb was a factor.
Yeah.
Everybody knew the thumb was a factor. With Stepp, I don't know.
There was all those pictures of him with the huge cast on. So, yeah, second straight offseason now where a much ballyhoo transfer might have something going on with them. And they're expected to contribute a lot. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend or say that Casey Thompson is going to contribute at the level of Marquise Stepp. If he does, that means he's not starting and somebody else is. But, I mean, he was supposed to be the dude last year, and he never was.
At least, and I guess the solace is it seems like they're in a position where maybe it's a situation where it just doesn't get fully better ever. And they've sort of found workarounds, whether it's a load management type of thing or whatever else, to say, this is a doable thing that we can work through.
Yeah.
And it sounds like maybe we're sort of
Are we off the air to Bill? All right, says we're connected.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey, what's going
Well, I can't hear myself, but
that's weird.
yeah, it is sort of weird. I can't hear myself in my ears, but I can hear myself in the speaker, so I'm going to assume that I'm on air.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks, Shane. We'd like to remind you that we're at the Omaha Baseball Village, and we're on the air, even though I can't hear myself. And it's powered by Brookside Medical, revolutionary treatment for ED. I don't know what people heard or what people didn't. I'm not sure when we went off air, but the moral of the story here is I think we're in for an interesting last 6 weeks of summer.
Yeah, seriously. And you wonder now when media days, when Big Ten media days arrive, in about a month. Oh, awesome. Now we can't hear
Yeah, we can't hear Josh now.
All right, well, I got nothing to say then because you can't hear me.
Why don't we just take a break?
Probably a solid idea.
We're doing radio things here at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll come back. We'll figure out our issues. We'll come back with our defensive play of the day from last night. It's a pretty obvious one in the night game. We'll get to that here from the Omaha Baseball Village. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 in the Zone.
1420 The Zone.
All right, we're back here at the Omaha Baseball Village, getting ready for game one today, one of the day anyway. It's an elimination game between Stanford and Auburn. Let's go back to last night in the Notre Dame-Oklahoma winners bracket game, and that is where we will find our defensive play of the day. From yesterday, that is presented by Mouth of the South, craving some Southern hospitality. Head to Mouth of the South in the heart of the Old Market. This is on pitch one of the game last night. Shane fired up.
And on the first pitch, Ryan Cole pops one up behind the plate, coming over the first baseman, and he tumbles into the dugout and makes the catch. Oh my goodness. Robertson head over heels into the Notre Dame dugout, and he makes the catch to steal an out.
That was Blake Robertson going over the edge of the dugout, over the railing of the dugout in an area. Okay, so
goodness.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes into an area that isn't occupied by people. I mean, there's basically an empty area in that corner of the dugout. I'm sitting like 2 seats away down there by the tunnel, and and I couldn't believe that he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, seriously,
like,
every time a player hops over or tumbles over a fence like that.
And he's like 6'5". He's a big guy.
Lanky dude.
And so he got cut off basically at the waist. He goes hard over, and he lands he completely flips upside down, and it looked like he landed on his head.
Yeah.
So the first guy who was there, he went into the Notre Dame dugout. The first guy who was on the scene was actually the Friday night starter for Notre Dame, and John Michael Bertrand. And so I went and asked him between the innings. I was like, "Did you how?" Is he okay? What happened? How did he land? And he said he sort of turned and ended up taking the brunt of it on his shoulder / back, so he didn't hit his head.
Yeah.
But that was that's one of the College World Series highlight reel plays that we're going to see, I think, for a really, really long time.
If there was a one shining moment at the end of the College World Series, that play, now I wouldn't watch it because that song sucks, but that play would definitely be on it. Yeah.
All right, I have some bones to pick with you.
The catch.
This is an issue. First of all, and thanks again. This is presented by Mouth of the South, craving some Southern hospitality. Head to Mouth of the South in the heart of the Old Market. That is our defensive play of the day. Okay, you don't like one shining moment?
Heck no.
And then,
heck no.
You were really angry about parody Twitter accounts.
Okay, really angry?
Yes,
or am I just
you were super angry.
Annoyed?
You were threatening people.
Well, okay, threatening? No. I just think they should be banned from Twitter. That's all that I think. Parody Twitter accounts, bad.
Look,
especially one like this. No offense to this listener. Thanks for listening.
They're usually bad.
Casey Thompson's thumb. No, we do not need that parody account. No.
Josh.
Dan Beebe back in the day, that was pretty funny. Faux Pelini in the early days, that was pretty funny.
Josh,
I don't need Casey Thompson.
This is going to be a talking point.
Appendages now?
This is going to be a talking point for the next 6 months of our lives.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Casey Thompson's thumb is going to be a major part of our lives.
Awesome.
For at least a half of a year.
And that's great. That's why we don't need a parody account. You and I can discuss it enough. I don't need his
Where
thumb
am I going to find my updates on Casey Thompson's thumb?
I'm not feeling very well. It's hard to hold a spoon.
No, I'm not sitting here and saying that all parody Twitter accounts are great, but
sounds like you're saying it.
When I did see the tweet that came through that, and by the way, is it gone now?
No, it's still there. Did he delete it?
Okay, there it is.
Yeah. Because it said, keep my thumb out yo effing mouth. What in the world?
When I saw the tweet come in from at Sipple's Contacts.
Yeah, see, this was
another bit.
This was another parody account.
Casey Thompson's thumb. Did I chuckle? Yes. And I think that's what parody accounts are for.
Yeah, I didn't chuckle. I had no chuckling at all.
You guys from Unsportsmanlike Conduct are so angry. John's mad at balloons. What
was he mad at?
The beach balls.
Oh yeah.
He's so mad at the beach balls.
He's mad at. I mean, to be fair, John's mad at everything.
Last night there was a ball that went into the stands, and some guy caught it on a hop, or he reached down and then raised it up and got a.
Did John get triggered?
He got a hand from the section around him, and John was like, "I wouldn't be very proud of that." He didn't do anything.
Wow, John.
That's what I said.
Now that's cool. A thumb account, not cool. Definitely not cool. Just out on the thumb Twitter accounts. That's all. I don't like the Twitter accounts for like items of clothing. There was like a Kanye West concert from like a decade ago where he was wearing a skirt and everyone on Twitter was like, wow, he's wearing a skirt. And then, of course, like a million Kanye West skirt Twitter accounts popped up. I don't need these Twitter accounts. None at all. None at all.
Jordan's wondering if Josh is out on Sipple's Lost Tea.
Sipple's Lost Tea is a good person. That's not a parody account. That's just like I know that guy's name. That's just how he marks his Twitter account. He emailed me once, and he actually signed his name, and I was like, "Hey, I know your name."
Oh, Auburn guy.
At Big Auburn guy.
I haven't seen many Auburn guys.
No, me neither. They're all trying to fire their football coach still, probably.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You got a thumbs up on that one. She was like, "Yeah, let's fire him."
Get out of here, Brian Harsin. They're not a fan of that guy.
Boise
They're
State.
making up rumors about him. Oh boy, they want him out. Don't worry, friends. He'll be gone soon enough.
Just a little of the SEC and the SEC West magic.
Oh
here,
boy.
this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Kiffin was like, "Yeah, I just got here. I'll be here for the next 2 hours, and then I'm leaving. I'm going home."
Yeah. 2 hours, so like what? 4 innings?
He may have stayed the whole game.
Oh, okay, nice.
I caught him in the third, so I can't confirm when he left the other night, but I don't think he's here anymore.
Yeah.
And basically that was the same. I think every
What is it?
Greg Sankey was like, "Yeah, I think every SEC basketball coach is here."
Oh,
And I talked to Buzz, and I definitely saw Porter. Well, Porter Moses in the Big 12. I saw Buzz and
you've
talked
seen at
to
least
him.
2 coaches.
So Buzz got to call a home run on
That
Friday.
was awesome.
Which was nice.
a very fun listen.
So I was talking to Buzz before, and he was like, "Yep, just got here, leaving, going out and recruiting after this."
Crazy. What a life. That
They
private jet
They
life, man.
fly in on their PJs, and
Oh.
then they just they fly out.
Dude, that's the dream. That is the dream. Just go in and then leave whenever you want to.
You fly in. You could pick anywhere in the country. You go to a baseball game. You go to a sporting event, and then you just leave.
Imagine not having to go through airport security, not having to take off your belt.
It's
I
fantastic.
hate having to take off my belt.
Oh my goodness!
My
You walk through the
goodness.
thing. They say, "Put your hands behind
Yeah.
your head," and then it
it's like,
spins around.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants that.
Then I'm pitting out. It is a disgusting experience for everybody involved. One time I went to the airport ahead of the Colorado game in 2019, and I had just gotten my new license. So it was, of course, the piece of paper.
You flew to that?
Flew to that. Yeah. Look at NRG. What's up? Yeah. So I get there, and they're like, "Oh, this is paper. We have to pat you down." And so they're giving me the business. I'm like, "This is not fun. This is not what I signed up for." Meanwhile, John gets to
You
use.
can't bring a paper license to an airport.
I had just gotten it. I couldn't bring the other one. It expired. I should have brought my passport. Severe thankfully hooked me up. He went to my place and got it for the return flight home.
Wow,
Severe drove my passport to Denver.
that's awesome.
Very nice of him. Thank you very much, Michael, if you're listening right now.
That was huge. We do have a poll question out.
Oh.
Parody Twitter accounts, question mark. Yes or no will be your required responses on that one. We have a response that comes
No.
in that says no, except for Faux Pelini. Are we still in on Faux Pelini, Josh?
No. I'm out on Faux Pelini.
Interesting.
I was out on him not long after Bo got fired. I thought the account got less funny, and I was just like, I'm going to unfollow you. See you later. I haven't looked back.
Very, very interesting.
Sorry, Fo.
Connor Happer, Josh Peterson out with you at the Omaha Baseball Village. Our coverage is presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com. We'll get you updated on some traffic as we go on throughout the show. Should be a pretty light day. Today here in downtown Omaha. Come in, watch a game, say hello. We're at the Omaha Baseball Village until 12:40. We'll come back with more up next here on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and by Brookside Medical. Here are Josh Peterson and Connor Happer on 1620 The Zone.
Swinging by Wallace, a deep fly ball out to right, going back at the track, at the wall, it's gone. Caden Wallace, opposite field home run. And the Razorbacks lead it 13-2.
That's Arkansas, and they're going to roll into tonight in their winner's bracket game against Ole Miss, coming off of a 17-run effort and running their way through the regionals and the super regionals. Connor Happer, Josh Peterson back with you here at the Omaha Baseball Village, 1620 The Zone. Live hydration sponsor is Coors Light. Time for a hydration break presented by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. We're off and running here on a Monday of the College World Series. By the way, I don't think we...
I'm ready. I'm here for
Why
it.
do you always do that?
I don't know. I think I learned it from Sipple, where I would say something and he just
Simple definitely
stares
does
at me. He's filling in. By the way, he's doing the Saturday show with me, so that should be a real treat.
Oh.
Yeah. See what he has to say about thumbs.
You got
Not
Simple
parody
to
account.
come down and hang out near
Yeah.
a baseball field?
Yeah, I'm getting his parking pass in mere moments, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to react
love
that way. What were you gonna What were you gonna say?
I like the schedule, how it moved back up a day.
100%. So much better.
It's much more fan friendly. I'm not sure if the teams like it quite as much, but yeah.
Yeah, you know,
much more fan-friendly.
a question that I would have after this year is, will they continue doing all double headers? I think moving the start date to Friday is one that I think everybody really, really likes. I do wonder, though, in the old days, today, day 4, would be the last of 4 straight doubleheader days. Tomorrow and Wednesday in the olden days would be single header days for the losers bracket. I wonder
Single header.
Yeah, I wonder single games. Somebody, you were on with us last week, right? When I said that, and we're like, what is a single header?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay, yeah. Somebody made fun of me for it. I call them single header days. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know what I meant, though. But I wonder if we get to that point where they move away from doing double headers every day, because that would still guarantee us one championship game over the weekend. It would just start on Sunday instead of on Saturday.
Here's what we need to do. The ESPN, I hope you're listening.
Oh,
This is an ESPN thing, and I don't know what the rationale is. I'm not sure why, but TV runs the event, and as they do.
yes.
Why have they always gone 1-6 and 2-7 or 2-7?
Well, they actually haven't always done that.
Well,
They used to do 4. Remember the years where they would have 4 and 8? Do you remember this at all?
oh my, when was this?
Some of the years where they had either the World Cup or the Euros.
That's even worse.
Oh, brutal.
It's even worse.
Monstrous. 4 and 8. So it's a Nebraska football record. It's not game times at the College World Series.
The solution is simple, Josh. The solution is 1-7.
Oh, I like 1 and 6.
1-7 is better, because then you get everybody out of the stadium.
You do have time.
You can get everybody back in the stadium. You don't have to turn things around in an instant. Like,
What about 12 and 6?
that's fine too.
Yeah. I like that the
Maybe
second game.
12's maybe a hair early.
Hair early.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like 12. I like noon. Big noon kickoff. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Big noon pickoff. That could be the name of the baseball pregame show. Big noon pickoff.
No.
No, out on that idea. I guess the game times for me, I'm just thinking about it selfishly from what it means for me getting in and out of the ballpark.
7:00 is a very normal start time.
It's very normal. We have had
very cool and very normal.
We have had the 7:00 over the years. You want to make John matter again. This is going to be the way to do it. He's going to get home an even hour later to Lincoln.
Well, here's the trade-off, John. You get a poll question.
Big noon pickoff.
Big noon pickoff. Here's the trade-off, John. You actually get a chance to eat between the games.
That's nice. Food is good.
Here's the deal.
Sustenance.
We have this is something that we have to accept in our sport in college baseball right now. We have very long baseball games.
Yeah, we're not allowed to eat.
They're not allowed. They're not allowed to eat. Nobody's allowed to get out of the stadium and get back in. I mean, we're talking about like people are still filing it. It looks like
It's hilarious.
It looks like a Wisconsin football game.
Great reference. It looks like the student section in a Wisconsin game. Great reference.
They can't get in time.
It is pretty hysterical leaving the game and just seeing the super duper long lines, knowing, oh, first pitch is about to happen. and nobody is inside the stadium because they literally were not allowed in the stadium because they had to clear it out.
And those are the night games are the show of the day. Those are the jam-packed atmospheres. Last night it was ended up being a huge crowd. But guess what? There was I guess we had a little gap between the game last night because they stretched out the stretched out the time a little bit.
Yeah.
But on I think it was Friday night.
That was no time in between the start and end.
It was less than, I think it was 60 minutes, maybe even less.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the show was out here. It was probably 5 minutes.
I think they did an 18-minute show that day is what they said. Yeah, not very long at all. No, you bring up a great point because so often it's funny. Whenever we talk about the College World Series, the Men's College World Series, and whenever we talk about game times, it does come across as just media members complaining about like their own plight. But from the fan perspective, it does suck that
let's do it exclusively from the fan perspective.
It's bad.
You're standing out there
in line,
waiting in line. By the way, use gate 4. Go to the left field.
Nice. Look at that life hack.
There's your update.
See, and real quick, that used to be where the GA people would go, but now there's no GA seating, and
which is another bad thing that we don't have to get.
It's so
into.
stupid, but you're right. That's a very short line over there. But yeah, it's
everybody's
bad for
using the one behind home plate or the one out. Most of the one out in right field.
In right field, yeah.
Because everybody's come over from here because they want to see us, or the one in dead center field. Go to the one in left field because nobody's coming over from lot D except for the people who like work or whatever, like us. I mean, just go in that left field. There's nobody ever there. You're in the ballpark.
Awesome.
Yeah. Exclusively from the fan perspective, you're sitting out there in line waiting and listening to the national anthem, listening to the first pitch go, and you're like,
plus, it's always uncomfortable and awkward. What do you do if you're outside the stadium and the anthem is playing? Do you have to stand there, hand over your heart? Do you keep walking? Do you have a conversation with a friend?
Here's another thing. I was walking through the concourse yesterday. I feel increasingly boxed in. In there, it's
cramped.
It's cramped, and people are trying to get out of the sun and all that stuff too. Yeah. But if you walk up behind that on the home field, the home plate gate there, there are concessions right when you walk in.
Yes.
And so there's a line that grows, and it grows almost back toward the gate.
Yep.
So the people are trying to get in, and then they're being pushed back to the people in the concession line at the same time, and it creates this huge disaster right behind home plate.
That seems to be a little bit of poor planning if you have like beer and food vendors right when you walk in. Like I get the thought process behind it of wanting to have more spots so then the lines aren't really, really long everywhere, but maybe wait a little bit for like the game to start before you have those vendors open. Maybe.
Or just don't put them there.
Yeah.
I did this. Oh, by the way, here we go. This is this is sideline report unused from yesterday. Oh, so I went
deleted scene.
Yeah, I went and walked around. And I was just, I don't know, looking for something because I knew I had a couple more and just looking for a free one somewhere. And so I talked to one of the lemonade people. They have 2 lemonade stands at the ballpark, the fresh squeezed lemonade. They're sitting back there and they're just going.
I had some on
the
Saturday.
Entire day. So I was like,
ruled.
Dude, how many lemons are you squeezing?
Oh, good question.
How many lemons are you squeezing a day? And he was like, let me do the quick math here. I don't know, probably conservatively about 2,000 lemons.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
Where are they getting? Do we have?
We had a lemon shortage.
Does the College World Series have a lemon tree that they just use?
Maybe we do. I would love to know the lemon bill that the College World Series and Mecca have to pay every year.
What do we think the College World Series lemon bill is? How much is a lemon?
I don't know. I haven't bought a lemon in a while.
When I buy lemons, I don't pay attention to how much they cost. It's a
dare to dream, live the life like Happer. I don't look at the prices.
I don't. It's a very a la carte thing. I do it every once in a while.
Because you only buy like one at a time. One or two.
It's the same thing with limes. I don't buy limes very often.
Now I do because every Saturday I
huge marg guy.
Oh yeah, every Saturday I have a marg. It's like a part of my post running celebration of the
Really?
Every Saturday, seriously, I have one every Saturday. I make one at home. It's awesome.
So how much do limes cost?
They're getting expensive. You used to be able to get like 3 for $1, and now they're like 3 for $3 or something. I don't know. I don't do the grocery shopping. Are those expensive now?
Dude, I got a McChicken for $2.44 the other night.
Oh man, back when we were in high school, they were like $1.
They're on the dollar menu. They're the value menu.
Is there even a dollar menu anymore?
It's called the value menu now. But what's valuable about a $2.44 chicken sandwich?
Yeah, I guess if everything's expensive, then that's cheap.
So do you think lemons or limes would be more expensive?
They are more expensive right now. Yeah.
No, but which
Oh,
one?
which would be more expensive? I mean,
Straw poll. Do you think lemons or limes are more expensive? Anybody? No take.
nobody
no
takes on
biters
lemons and
that
limes. Lemons are bigger, but limes are juicier. Like you get more juice out of a lime of the same size as a lemon. The lemon, what's the outside part called? What's that part of the lemon called?
The rind, maybe?
Yeah, that's like thicker with 2 C's. So you get less
like
juice.
Thicky Mantle.
Yeah, exactly, like Thicky Mantle. So you get a little less juice out of those. Yeah.
Okay,
That's my lime take for the day.
Yeah, we'll have to find out some prices on that. I don't want to Google it. I just want the information to be given to me or crowdsourced in some sort of way.
Well, yeah, we had a
Or I can go to
listener
the store.
who's doing that too. He's like, "Hey, what was the attendance at the College World Series?" I'm like, "I don't know. Go Google it. Why would I know? I don't know these answers."
I can tell you it was a pretty full house last night.
I think Patrick wants like the exact number. He must have a spreadsheet. He's comparing past attendance to current attendance.
Yeah, here's the deal.
He sends probably like a big TV ratings guy as well. Like, well, these finals are actually up 12% compared to last year's finals.
It's 25,000 a game.
There you go.
In some cases there's less. During the week there's certainly less. That's pretty much the story. All right, we're out here at the Omaha Baseball Village, getting you ready for Auburn and Stanford. Seen some Auburn?
Yeah, remember, because they're out on Brian Harsin.
That's right. We've seen some Auburn walking around. Ole Miss is starting to trickle in, I think, as well for the night game. They're going to be enjoying their time. Ole Miss versus Arkansas is the fan base showdown of the century.
Yeah, with the Jello shot thing.
With the Jello shot thing, but also, I mean, they get after it, and they're going to have all day to get after it on a Monday. Everybody's, you're off work if you're here in town from either of those places. So you're going to have all day to be out here with us and hanging out, and then you're going to walk into the stadium and
you'll think about lime prices.
You'll think about lime prices, and you grab yourself a beer in the stadium because that's the thing that you can do here. And we would encourage it.
At a college sporting event, beer?
I know, it's amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
very legal.
It's unthinkable. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We have more up next. We'll have Mike Schaefer joining at the bottom of the hour from the Omaha Baseball Village. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, Here for a Reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Connor Happer, Josh Peterson with you here at the Omaha Baseball Village, getting ready for another game of the College World Series, the Men's College World Series today between Auburn and Stanford. It's an elimination game. It's windy. It's hot. But come on down. You can come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside Omaha Baseball Village and register to win a prize pack of a grill, Royals tickets, and ice cream for a year at 13th and Mike Fahey. That's where we are right now. And 1620 The Zone live hydration sponsor is Coors Light. Time for a hydration break presented by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. We're off and running. We'll have Schaefer here in just a couple minutes.
Awesome.
I don't think that we'll probably ask him about Kyrie Irving, but we might ask him about recruiting
And thumbs.
Twitter
accounts. It looks like he has some thoughts on parody accounts. We can do that with him too.
I'm sure he has thoughts on parody.
He has thoughts on everything.
He seems like quite the curmudgeon, honestly, as it pertains.
All right, we're back.
Hey,
we're off
back.
the air. We're off the air.
We were off the air. Now we're back on the air.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to welcome our partner, 82 Solar, joining us on site this weekend. 82 Solar, powering homes, empowering people. Okay, Josh, we left off with parody Twitter accounts, but we were going to get into Kyrie Irving, who, okay, let me just read this tweet. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious tweet from Shams of the Athletic, who covers the NBA. Kyrie Irving, Nets, are at an impasse in conversations about his future in Brooklyn, clearing the way for the 7-time All-Star to consider the open market. Here's the best part.
Yeah.
Lakers and Knicks expected to emerge among potential suitors.
Very on brand. Very on brand. I saw a tweet from Matt Moore. He covers the NBA for the Action Network. What team is like, well, this was a disaster for the Celtics and Nets, but it might work for us? Oh, the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Clippers. Got it. Like, come on. What are you doing?
Remember when Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn to pair up with Kyrie Irving? Amazing career choice.
I've always been a fan of KD.
I love KD, but
man,
that was the worst choice anybody has ever made.
You know, we've long made fun of LeBron for being a bad GM, you know, of his own teams and his own franchises and like bringing in his friends and bringing in clutch clients. I think that we need to start talking about Kevin Durant in the same way that we kind of make fun of some of LeBron's choices. At least LeBron has won a few more championships. KD has the 2. LeBron has the 4.
Yeah, I appreciate I appreciate how good of a player KD is, and maybe it's fair to say almost at this point, was.
I think it's fair to say that
he's on the downslope sort of, but he's made some hilarious choices, and one in particular, in pairing up with Kyrie Irving and that whole thing. And also the fake Twitter accounts are hilarious too.
The burners?
The burners.
Yeah,
what were you at on burners?
I wouldn't do it, but I understand why you would want to do it, because sometimes you get really mad at somebody for saying something about you and you want to respond to that person, but maybe you don't want to put your name on it. And that's the funny thing about KD is now he just responds. That dude is like the most online superstar we've ever seen.
Yes.
And it makes sense because, he's literally my age. He was born the same month that I was. He's a little younger than me. He's younger than me by a few weeks. I get it. I'm 33. I understand wanting to clap back. Now, that said, I'm not one of the best basketball players of all time, though. And so that's always the weird rub with him. It's like, dude, you don't have to do this. But again, I get it. I get mad sometimes too.
The Kyrie thing, I don't know where, when this happens this morning, this tweet happens, and the response is just LOL.
Yeah, I don't understand, seriously, why a franchise would want him. I get his talent level.
Exactly.
Look at the number of games, though, he's played the last few years. Sometimes because of injury, but obviously another big piece of that was a choice that he decided to make, and that impacted him from playing home basketball games. He's just not a reliable player. In the era of load management and guys missing a lot of time, he misses more than anybody of that level that's not just constantly hurt all the time.
You see, and this is probably more of an NBA thing than in general than just Kyrie, but Kyrie is certainly one of the guys. But guys go to a place, it doesn't work out, quote unquote, or they don't win a championship, and then they're like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to force my way out. This is bad. We could say this out loud. This is not good for the sport.
No, it's not.
It's not good for the sport. And what players, I hope, start to realize is that it's not good for them either. They change franchises and sort of try to run them or take them over or whatever they're trying to do in this very, very short window of time. And if it doesn't work, some other franchise will sell their soul to get a guy like Kyrie Irving because he's so talented and they can sell jerseys, and it might work out. But guess what? It won't.
It probably will not work out.
It's not going to work out.
Yeah, and at least in the old traditional free agency model, you'd have players forcing a trade every now and then, or they might go into their last contract year pretty unhappy, and hey, if you want to keep me around, maybe make a move. I certainly think about LeBron in his first iteration with the Cavs in this way. But what's happened lately, you look at a guy like a James Harden forcing his way off of 2 franchises in the span of what was it, 13 months or something like that?
Yeah.
That type of stuff is not sustainable. And as fans of either one of those teams, the Rockets or the Nets, or just fans of the product overall, that stuff should make you pretty angry.
In order for this to not happen, though, the NBA is going to have to be in a situation where there's not a team that would take a James Harden, where there's not a team that would take a Kyrie Irving.
Great point.
And the problem is there just always will be the Knicks.
Yeah,
the Knicks will always exist.
Yeah, you said it a couple minutes ago. This news came out earlier today, and the collective reaction was LOL. This is hysterical. But yet there will be a team, or at least a couple of teams, that will be interested in his services because when he is playing,
because the Knicks exist,
and because the Knicks exist. But when he's playing and he's playing well, he is one of the best guards in the NBA. But I don't know, how much longer can a guy keep living off of the 2016 NBA Finals? That was 6 years ago. It's a long time. Things have changed.
He has not played a lot of games since then.
Yeah, think about how we talk about Harden. Speaking of him again, he's not 2019 James Harden anymore. He's not even 2020 James Harden anymore. And so, if we can view him and say, he's dropped off, I don't know why we can't have a similar conversation about Kyrie Irving.
We're going to have Mike Schaefer here in just a few minutes. So we'll have the elimination game between Stanford and Auburn coming up here at a little after 1:00 today. The pregame show we'll send it over to the stadium with John and Damon and Gary at 12:40. Like I said earlier, I think it should be a pretty easy breezy day getting down to the ballpark. I think there should be parking aplenty today. That would be my guess. It's the Monday of the College World Series. It's going to be very hot today, so now is a good time. Come on down, hang out. You'll be able to find a place to go eat, have a drink as well. and in Park, of course. And this is presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com. That is your traffic and parking update for the next few minutes here, but should be a pretty light and easy day getting to downtown Omaha in front of an elimination game between Stanford and Auburn. Mike Schaefer is coming up next. We're from the Omaha Baseball Village in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer, Josh Peterson back with you at the Omaha Baseball Village, and we'll be joined by Mike Schaefer in a second, but we're powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and that is yours. Mike Schaefer to talk some Nebraska Cruton, Nebraska Thumbs, and more. Hey, Schaefer, what's going on?
How are we doing, guys? I feel like we've done the other two iterations of this. Mike Schaefer, Connor Happer interviews Josh Peterson. Mike Schaefer, Josh Peterson interview Connor Happer. But this, I think, is the first time that Connor Happer and Josh Peterson interview Mike Schaefer.
We've done a Josh Peterson, Mike Schaefer interview Connor Happer.
Yeah, when was this?
Kind of like the interview strong is like a crossover. It's I'm like loosely putting that in there.
I got a situation where I was like the third man. So you're the third man in this situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're excited for it. You want to talk some thumbs?
I'll go wherever the show takes me.
Thumbs, thoughts.
Yeah, thumbs. Yeah, we'll start there. It feels like
valuable. Can you imagine texting without your thumb?
It'd be difficult.
I would argue that it's the most important appendage that you have.
Now, the olds would be okay because they just peck with the pointer finger, but me, I'm a thumb text guy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine operating a smartphone without a thumb. The way it sits in your hand, the thumb is an integral part of the whole experience.
I completely agree. How important is it to throw a football?
Ooh.
I would assume fairly important because I'm guessing, the thumb kind of like guides the bottom part of the ball as you're taking it back. Like it's hard to imagine throwing a football where you just have the four fingers so strong that they can grip everything, and then your palm would have to be strong enough to grip it, but then how do you get that good release? I feel like the thumb is fairly important to throwing a football.
I would agree.
So if it's important, should there be any concern from Nebraska fans about the thumbs of the quarterbacks that are on the roster?
Yeah, I mean, in the general sense, you want good thumbs versus achy thumbs, I suppose.
Yes.
Healthy thumbs versus non-healthy thumbs. In the sense of, Casey Thompson, and I assume this is where this comes from.
Correct.
I don't know if there's some other thumb injury that I'm unaware of, but Jose Ramirez, I guess, also dealing with an achy thumb, so that might have been why we went here, but I'm definitely not. With Casey Thompson, look, it's hard for me to get too worked up about something I can't see, something they're not talking about yet. It's just hard to say. I mean,
yeah.
I have to assume that they have all their ducks in a row, so to speak, as to where the medicals are at. Where he's at, I believe he had off-season surgery, or at least had the thumb looked at. And where it goes from there, I don't know. I mean, I can't do anything with this. Does that make sense? I'm not sounding alarms about something I know very little about, and it's not like he's missed practice time because they can't practice. And I don't know how valuable summer workouts are into the whole scheme of things either, as it relates here. But he went through the spring, and I have no reason to doubt that he'll be available to go through fall camp either.
Well, let me just ask you this then, because Josh and I were talking about this before. It sort of felt like since spring, my confidence level, and in spring it was a sure thing, honestly, for me, that he was going to be the starting quarterback. But it's sort of like deteriorated. I don't know how far it's gone, but like I've certainly lost confidence, or I've lost the assurity that he's going to be Nebraska's starting quarterback in the fall. Some of it's because of the thumb. Some of it's because of what you hear about Chubba Purdy, and he's coming. He's going the other way on the injury. It feels like as well, where he was out in the spring, and they want to give him an actual pretty good look. It feels like in the fall, if we go any further down this road, we're probably talking about an actual quarterback battle in the fall, which seems really weird to me considering what was said in the spring.
Yeah, I'm still kind of the opinion that it's Casey Thompson's job until it's not. And, Chubba Purdy practiced 1 week in the spring. We can only work with what we have in front of us. And he had 1 week of the spring, and he played in the spring game, and he had a really nice throw to A.J. Rollins, and that about wraps up the entire spring for Chubba Purdy. Maybe he's lighting things up in summer 7-on-7 workouts. I don't know. I don't know that I care, because it's going to matter if he's healthy and good to go in fall camp. And then if he's able to win that job in the 4-week lead up to Ireland, then all the credit will go to him in that point in time. But it's very much, if you talk to the other players on this team, or when we did this spring, it was Casey's team. It just feels like it would be sort of, yet another bizarre check mark of this regime if Casey Thompson doesn't end up being their starting quarterback in Ireland, unless it's strictly because of an injury. If it's not, if Chubba Purdy just emerges like a long shot at the Kentucky Derby to win this thing going into Ireland, I mean, in a weird way, it sort of fits the ridiculous nature of this whole 2022 season.
Shafe, I remember a few months ago, I think it was when Nebraska was in the midst of recruiting and ultimately getting O'Shawn Mathis, you talked about the idea of spring ball and maybe how important it is or isn't. As you were answering that question, I was thinking again about all of the new pieces that have joined the roster, in recent weeks. And of course, since the beginning of the year, but especially in recent weeks, I was thinking about some of the players like a Purdy who missed most of spring football, some who didn't even have a spring football at all with Nebraska. What type of lessons do you think we're going to be able to take away from this offseason as it pertains to chemistry and need to be around your teammates, because depending on how the season goes, I think people might be in certain camps on arguing how important it is or isn't.
Well, sure. It's going to be confirmation bias run amok, right? Like, if you're people are going to frame their argument based on whatever they see, and it's, a tainted sample pool of one team. So it's not like it's going to be something that, empirical evidence points one way or another. But what I'm mostly curious with spring football is, in the age of the transfer portal, is there a way to get more value out of it than just the traditional, here's our 15 practices and scrimmage, we're going to treat it like it's, a run-up of fall camp? Like, is there a way to get more in terms of development? Is there a way that it becomes more enticing to your younger players? Are there things that you can do to get more out of it? Because if you have a handful of veterans or a handful of transfer guys that are just going to be able to show up on June 1 and they're going to be assumed starters on August whatever or in September, you're going to get a lot of guys opting out of spring ball at some point in time, because if it doesn't matter to making the team, then why would you spend all, if you're Ty Robinson,
sure,
and you just took 403 reps, whatever it was, whatever number he gave out the week of the spring game, because you didn't have any other defensive linemen, and you just let your body get the crap beat out of it for the sake of what? If Stephen Wynn shows up and is a starting defensive lineman alongside of you, like I just think that there's going to be a reckoning for how we view spring ball, how spring ball is ran, how the players use spring ball, and how the coaches have to use spring ball. And so I just think that a coach that can get creative with it and find more value in it, rather than just the traditional, well, we're going to install our offense and our defense and do what we've always done. I just don't know that that's going to be able to happen moving forward. I think there's going to be concessions, and there's going to be changes, and there's going to have to be ways to get more out of it than what we're currently seeing.
Mike Schaefer is with us here. We're at the Omaha Baseball Village. Connor Happer, Josh Peterson with you. You can come by the Zone booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted Wally's. Ted Wally's is the official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 35 years with over 3,000 flavors in Benson in downtown Omaha. This is something that Josh and I and John talked about last week on one of the crossovers. Schaefer, what is your confidence level that Nebraska will be 3-0 to start the season?
Like 62%.
Nice number.
That's low.
Well, it can't be high, Happer. How many times have they won 3 straight games?
That would be 0 in the Scott Frost era.
So, and then I know a guy who puts together spreadsheets that point out that Nebraska doesn't have that strong of a record when favored in situations like this.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
I ask because there's like no reasonable scenario where this works out well if they don't start 3-0.
I'm very confident that they will win against North Dakota and Georgia Southern.
Same.
I would put that at near like 97% confidence. So I am already very excited for the Georgia Southern week, where people talk about how this is the kind of team that can like give people problems, and we really, really Buffalo it. Do you guys remember Buffalo week? Like, yes. Nebraska was really going to struggle with Buffalo, who managed to put up 3 whole points in that game.
To be fair, Nebraska did kind of struggle on offense early,
and Buffalo's coach isn't Clay Helton.
That's true.
Yeah, neither of these things concern me. Like, I'm excited for the let's be careful out here with Georgia Southern. Nebraska's lost to Arkansas State before, the Northern Illinois, and we're going to trot out, the Sutton Smith highlights. And, it's going to get made into a much tougher game. But I feel 98% confident that they're going to win those 2 games. It's the Northwestern one where you have the added bonus of you're in a weird situation playing over an island. The first game with a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback, and a new setup with your head coach. And it's a program that, Nebraska can easily play down and just as easily win 45-10. that's what makes this kind of fascinating in its own right, where I can draw you both scenarios and not even blink twice while doing it.
Hey, Shafe, in your coverage of the camps over the weekend, you mentioned not only is it 2023, but it's 2024 and even 2025 prospects. How are you feeling individually as the classes get closer and closer to our 20-year high school reunions? How's that making you feel?
I haven't thought about it in that term. But
well,
now,
there you go. How are you going to feel now?
I'm probably going to go sadly walk around my block and cry as I think about the time that's elapsed. No, I mean, it's, every time I write down a new, I think Deshaun Prince, the Benson will be freshman that picked up an offer from Mickey Joseph earlier this month. It was the first time I wrote down class of 2026 in my life.
Gross.
That was a moment. That was it took something out of me. I have to write that, but the reality is, time just marches forward, whether we care or not. And Nebraska is going to continue to recruit, whether their staff is going to be here in 2026 or not. And they did it again on Friday. They offered a kid named Carmelo Mayo, a defensive back from Louisiana, and they had some 2024s on campus. They had a number of 2025 quarterbacks on campus over the weekend. So they're moving forward. They're marching forward as time moves on as well. Time stops for no man.
Well, I was going to ask, what'd you learn on Friday? Was there anything to gain from Friday Night Lights round 2?
There's a conversation to be had, and I'd be happy to be the one leading it, that Nebraska probably has to change up its approach to Friday Night Lights moving forward. Might be time to look for something different or something a little bit more fresh. They still draw a crowd of people to come out there. It's just not the same. I mean, you get individual performances that stand out, like Dominic Raiola last year, or Dylan Raiola last year. And then this year, Davon Hall had some nice plays out there in the one-on-ones and was kind of the talk of camp. But we're so far removed from the Mike Riley days of you have all these kids, and it's because recruiting changes, and you can't just roll the same camp out there and expect things to matter. Also, the pipeline camp just hasn't been what Nebraska would have thought out for it being when they created it, I think, in 2019. I mean, they had designs on this being a major camp where great players across the country come in and challenge themselves, learn a little bit. You have different Adidas coaches out there, and you tie it really to sort of the Adidas brand and Adidas schools, and Nebraska being the king of Adidas. I mean, I don't want to, besmirch the kids that were out there, but it wasn't the creme de la creme of the 2023 or 2024 or whatever. I mean, it was an opportunity for Nebraska to evaluate, and they're probably going to make a few offers. But these camps are so far removed from what they were even 4 or 5 years ago that it's time for Nebraska to take a fresh approach to it. Or you just have to sort of admit that it's a money grab for the program and for whatever they choose to do with the money that they get for these camps, because it's no longer really a recruiting event. Recruiting happens, but it's just not – there's no real energy there. I mean, if you give truth serum to the other reporters that covered this, they would say the same thing. I would hope they wouldn't even need the truth serum, but it's just nowhere near the event that it used to be. And I think it's on Nebraska to figure that out and find something else or juice it up a little bit. But as it was on Friday night, it was pretty damn sleepy in that stadium for most of it.
Shafe, are you making your way down to the Men's College World Series?
There's some talk of getting over for a game at some point in time, or maybe just hit the beer tent. Can't lose at the beer tent. But I don't know. I all of a sudden have a revigorated interest in my my professional baseball team. So they got a big series against the Minnesota Twins this week. That might need all of my focus and attention, baseball wise.
Well, Jose Ramirez can do that.
People forget too, Shafe, that if the championship series goes 3 games, you're coming down and doing the show with yours truly.
I hope it goes 3 games. What has a team or two emerged that you guys actively would like to see make a deep run in this thing, or is it still fairly early for you to try to figure that out?
I do like Notre Dame, but I think Oklahoma's going to win that bracket. So I
We're
feel like,
looking at Oklahoma, Arkansas. You think is that what we're staring down the barrel at?
yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens tonight, but we may be looking at Oklahoma, Arkansas. Yeah.
Yeah, and tonight is what, Stanford, Arkansas?
Tonight is Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I found myself with the entrance this year. Not that I like. There's a lot of narratives and storylines, but it was kind of more like we'll see if any of them sort of have an appeal when they're here. Notre Dame taking out Tennessee. I don't know. Like, nothing against Notre Dame, but the opportunity to sort of see that Tennessee team that we've been hearing about, if you followed college baseball before the last week of May at all, that I feel like that took a little wind out of what could have been a pretty fun week.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit of a bummer. All right, Shafe, we'll talk to you later.
All right, gentlemen, have a good one. Have a good show together.
Hey, thank you, Shay.
That is Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. We're at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll come back in just a few minutes. Our coverage is powered by Brookside Medical, revolutionary treatment for ED. Back more from the Connor Happer Show at the Omaha Baseball Village next on 1620 The Zone.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry, you can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style, and they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized, all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, Here for a Reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Connor Happer, Josh Peterson with you here at the Omaha Baseball Village, where we are getting you ready for game one of the day between Stanford and Auburn, an elimination game where neither team had their best stuff in game one, I wouldn't say. Definitely wouldn't say that for Stanford, who lost 17-2 to Arkansas. That is not advisable here in this tournament.
No.
Do not lose 17-2 because then you have to use a lot of pitchers, and you do not want to use a lot of pitchers here in this tournament. There's my baseball analysis, Josh.
I think it's good analysis. As I say, you have the best baseball takes of anybody on the air at 1620 The Zone. I follow you into the abyss.
That's surprising. I mean, we have some smart people here.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm complimenting you. What do you want me to say? You said earlier I'm being too negative. Now I'm being too positive.
What if I'm an idiot?
I don't think you are.
What if I'm an idiot and you just had no idea?
I hear your baseball takes and I'm like, he sounds smart.
But how? Yeah, right. You don't know that for sure.
Yeah, but I'm going to keep following you though.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm drafted. I'm behind you there.
I mean, I believe in what I say. So I mean, it's really the confidence I think that works more than others. So we are. I mean, it's starting to roll in. The crowd is starting to roll in. We'll turn it over to the pregame show up in the booth across the street here in just less than an hour now. 12:40. Don't know of any injuries going on in this game. There was one. I mean, the Oklahoma guy Squires who broke his wrist in game one of their series. I mean, he's going to be out the rest of the way. I mean, this could be a general College World Series injury update. Basically, I don't know of any between these two teams that we're going to see. But it's College World Series. God, I mean, one thing that you could throw in this is managing the pitching staff and how you manage a tournament. Talking to coaches over the last few days, I mean, some of them sort of appreciate the first weekend because it's different than a traditional weekend series where you're playing back to back to back. You actually get the day in between, so you get a day for your bullpen to rest. But once that starts, you don't normally, if you're not 2-0, you don't normally play 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes really tricky. And that's coming off of playing 2 out of 3 days the previous weekend.
Yeah. It's always kind of crazy to me that you'll see, sports and their championships, especially in college more so than anything else, where it goes totally against how a regular season schedule would go. I mean, I think about, for example, the schedule at the end of a college football season before a playoff game and then before the national championship. Very odd, very different than what you were normally kind of used to being in the rhythms of a season. And you can say the same thing about a College World Series, given, how a regular season format goes and then how the College World Series format goes, especially if you're winning. If you're losing, I guess maybe it feels a little more consistent because you're playing day. But if you win, you end up getting some off days in there, of course, extra off days, etc.
Yeah, so it sets up well for you if you win. I mean, you get rewarded for winning. So that's your injury update. It's presented by Methodist Health System, personalized care when and where you need us. That's Methodist, the meaning of care. People starting to show up. We have lemonades from our good friends at the lemonade stand.
Big fan.
I got myself a nice strawberry lemonade.
I decided to go with the raspberry today. Very, very tasty. I did the regular on
There was
Saturday.
an option of regular.
I like the regular. That's what I did over the weekend.
Yeah,
Big fan.
We should have asked our guy when he came around and brought us these fantastic lemonades.
Yeah.
If they get their lemons from the same lemon provider as the lemon inside the stadium.
And how much are lemons?
And how much are lemons?
Yeah. How many lemons does this guy squeeze a day?
Are they all coming from the same lemon tree?
And where is this tree? Yeah. Isn't it crazy how...
Where do you think the nearest lemon tree is?
Aren't they all in Florida? I don't know. Where are lemon trees?
I don't know that I've seen a lemon tree.
Yeah, this will surprise you. I don't think I've ever picked a lemon before.
I don't know.
I don't do those types of things.
I've picked
an
orange.
Don't know how. You have?
Yep. There's orange trees.
I think I picked up an apple off the ground one time.
Yeah. You never picked an apple?
I don't know. I don't do picking of fruit.
You don't have to like go to a place. There are apple trees just in the wild. Like there are.
I don't really see them though. I don't go to people's yards, and I don't have a yard, so there's no apple trees anywhere near.
It doesn't
me.
have to be like a whole thing where you go to Arbor Day in Nebraska City and you're like, let's go apple picking, babe.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
Well,
have
there was
to be
this
that.
backyard at a guy's house when I was a kid, and he had apples. I don't know if I picked any of them though. I think they all just fell on the ground.
You had to have picked an apple.
There were like worms in
you
there.
were a kid and you saw an apple tree and you didn't pick an apple. I find that hard to believe.
I probably did. I was a little punk teenager. I don't know what I was doing back then.
You probably threw it at somebody's car windshield.
No, I wouldn't do that.
That's what you did that one time with that one guy.
That wasn't that was a drink. That wasn't an apple. I wasn't throwing projectiles. I was just throwing liquid.
Blend it up a little bit and then it's a drink.
I wonder if he was
And then
listening.
Josh is liable to throw it in your car.
And then I got suspended.
You
Bad
get
time.
suspended from school.
I didn't like it. I defended myself. Unreal.
You liked it when you were throwing it in there, though.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely unreal.
we have some Chinook cedary seeds.
Oh, dude, I had the jalapeno ranch for the first time.
So you know,
Yumtown.
So here's how I got into Chinook cedary seeds. I've placed an order prior to them being here today. Bobby Witt Jr. is like a ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
So I got suckered in by that.
Nice.
He like posted on his Instagram. I was like, yep, I'm whatever Bobby Witt Jr. does, I'm in on.
Some of my best friends were talking about these seeds literally a week ago and how great they are. And now I've gotten to have them. They are very, very great.
All right. That is us from Omaha Baseball Village. Connor Happer, Josh Peterson with you. We're just a little over 40 minutes away from the pregame show with John and Damon and Gary, getting you ready for Auburn and Stanford, an elimination game this afternoon here at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha for the Men's College World Series. We'll come back and we will got a couple things to get through still as we get you closer to 1 o'clock here on 1620 The Zone.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Your home for the Men's College World Series is 1620 The Zone, KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Presented by Lanaha Nurseries. Rooted in quality, unmatched value.
On 1620 The Zone. And we're back. We're at the Omaha Baseball Village here on 1620 The Zone, getting you ready for game one of the day between Stanford and Auburn at the Men's College World Series. And you can come by the Zone booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's, the official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. That is in Benson and in downtown Omaha. We've received a tweet, Josh, from John, who is growing a lemon tree.
Oh, what's up, John?
Hey, John, congrats on your lemon tree. I don't know how many lemons that will yield. Not enough for the lemonade guys because they use 2,000 a day.
They use a lot of lemons a day. Maybe John will be selling his lemons to the lemonade guys, though. Hey, there's the lemon guy.
Bring the lemonade guy back. We got to ask him questions about the lemons. We've been talking about lemons too much in the show to not to have this resolved.
Tell us about your lemons.
I don't think he heard us, though.
No, he did. He was just pumped. He was fist pumping.
Crowd's starting to file in a little bit here as we get ready for game one today. It's been a fun series. The Heat, you've done this for longer than I have, or been in a working capacity at the College World Series for longer than I have. Does it seem like excessively hotter than other College World Series, or is it pretty normal?
It's always hot,
exactly. I know I was out there yesterday and I was like dying.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this normal to just be dying?
I think so. It's every year it's hot. Now, I don't really remember the last time that we had multiple days inside of a heat advisory during games. Like that did seem unique and maybe a little bit different. I would say that it's been a bit more humid than normal. So I think it's always in the 90s. It's always really warm.
Right.
But it was either last year or 3 years ago, back in 2019, we did have a few days where the temperatures were like in the low 80s. And so it's like, wow, this is awesome. But that's few and far between.
Will you take this as a trade for potential weather threats throughout the week? Because it doesn't feel like we have that.
Definitely. The stress of weather, moving games around, moving games back. I remember a game a series a few years ago where a game got punted to the next day, and so there were 3. And it's just like that. Yeah, it's not fun. It's really difficult. They don't start the first game early enough, and so everything ends up just getting pushed way, way back. It's not good for the stands. It's not good for the fans. There's not as many people, So, yeah, I'll take the Heat as long as that means no weather delays.
No weather delays.
That's what we're rooting for.
I actually think we're –
Dude, fingers crossed. We've made it 3 days. We're going to make it 4 without any issues.
I'll just not say it, but
good call.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
For the next for the final few days of the College World
looking
Series.
Very good. Yeah.
As we will eliminate another team, one of Stanford or Auburn today. I think Stanford's going to be in dead last in the Jello shot contest across the street.
Yeah.
Sad.
Never been a fan base that's been known to travel, no matter what sport they're playing in.
Hard to imagine the Stanford people doing Jello shots too. It feels like a very Arkansas and Oklahoma.
Too hoity-toity. Is that what you're saying?
Jello shots?
No. The Stanford folks.
Yes.
The people.
Correct.
Yeah. Out there in Cali, Palo Alto.
Do you think they're doing Jello shots out there? If they would have had
Hey, I watched Social Network. They were doing some weird and wacky stuff out there.
What are they drinking in California?
Beer, probably. I don't know. They're college kids.
Craft beer.
Yeah,
if they had a craft beer drinking challenge at the bar across the street, do you think Stanford would come any closer?
No, they're just not enough fans. Not enough fans. I think that's where maybe Notre Dame's folks start taking over a little. Well, they had a wine drinking contest. Maybe that's where the Notre Dame folks and maybe the Stanford.
Okay, so this is. I was wondering about this. Do you think all the Notre Dame people do you think it's mostly Omaha? Or is that like Notre Dame people who have traveled here? Because
I would definitely bet a combination of the
that may be one of our strongest fan bases here right now.
Well, did you grow up Catholic?
Yes.
Okay, so you probably knew friends, family members, whatever it was at your church that rooted for Notre Dame, just kind of because.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people like that.
It's definitely a thing in Omaha.
It is, and so I think that there are probably some local fans they honestly might be alums of other universities. I know people like that who went to Nebraska, but when Notre Dame would play, as long as they're not playing Nebraska, they'd root for Notre Dame. And so I wonder if it's the tie-in.
It's not surprising that Omaha has sort of adopted it a little bit, but I do wonder how many people sort of made their way over. It's a fun team to watch too. Their coach is really likable. I don't think he's going to be their coach next year. He's going to be at Florida State, but he's a really good guy, and they have a really good team. Also, all of their players are like 25 years old, so that's something. Yeah.
Only negative about watching them is their uniforms sometimes are bad. Like the ones last night, trash uniforms.
So they came out last night,
trash.
And I'm standing there out in front of the dugout, and their sports information guy walks out. And he's like, "Yeah, we got the all blue uniforms on tonight. Some people like them, some people don't." So I just took that as an opportunity for me to give him all my uniform takes.
Oh, awesome.
I was like,
was this on the air? Or this was off.
This is off the air.
Okay, I was going to say this would be a hilarious interview if you're just giving him opinions the whole time. Here's what I want to say,
dude. There was one point in the weekend where I thought I was going to be able to do one of those 30-second hits and mention the Royals, and I thought we were going to knock a bingo card off.
Nice,
but okay, I can get to that one in a second too. So I'm like. Your blue uniforms suck, man.
They're bad.
I'm sorry, they're really bad. And then he was like, okay, well, I get that. That's fine. But can I interest you in this? They have the trim on their uniforms.
Bad. Bad.
He told me about the trim on their uniforms. It was like they are the bottom ring of the Golden Dome, on the actual Golden Dome. I'm like, great, but also that sucks too.
Yep. It's all bad.
The whole thing is bad.
It's a bad look. We talked.
He was like, yeah, we didn't want to wear the gray pants because we didn't think it would look good with the blue. I was like, you should have done that.
We talk every now and then about uniforms, especially baseball ones, and how they look like pajamas. Now, because you usually have the matching tops and matching bottoms. That's how baseball uniforms most of the time look. I don't think all grays look like pajamas. I don't even think like the pinstripes look like pajamas. Last night's uniform looked like actual pajamas that people would wear to bed.
They were like baggy, like baseball pants are sort of supposed to be like form fitting kind of as well.
Yeah.
They're like really baggy.
I wish that
they're wearing black cleats.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to wear black with the navy blue. You're supposed to wear the brown. You're not going to wear brown cleats. That would look stupid too.
Notre Dame, I like them, and they're a great story. Do something different.
I wish that we could mandate baseball pants. You having to wear the high socks. I think that's a way better look, way cleaner look. It looks like the old days. I'm a fan.
I think do it as a team, whatever you're going to do.
That's true.
I do it as a team, whatever you're going to do. That's what the baseball guy would say. Okay.
Mike says lots of Creighton basketball fans, the smart non-J-skers, root for Notre Dame athletics as well. That's true. No, I know a bunch of Creighton basketball fans who root for Notre Dame in football. # Catholic stuff.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Because if you're a Creighton fan and you hate Nebraska, but you like football, you got to find somebody.
Yeah.
Creighton doesn't have a football team. People forget.
Is it going to be Iowa?
No, definitely not. Yeah, I think Notre Dame's the natural time. They probably grew up watching them. They were always on TV. Remember, they air on NBC. Have you ever seen
People
this?
Forget
Have you
this.
seen this? Have you heard about this?
Now they're going to be on Peacock only.
Oh, that'll make some people mad when that happens.
They're not going to do that.
It maybe someday.
Not for a while. They're not going to do that. Okay, so here's how I almost weaved in the Royals to one of those updates. So I go up. So Troy Tulowitzki is one of.
I know that name.
He is one of Texas's assistants.
Baseball player, former baseball player.
That's right, Josh.
Yeah.
Baseball.
There we go.
He's a very good baseball player for a long time. So I go up to him before the game, and I'm like, "Hey, I saw you in a highlight on Twitter today." And he was like, basically barely responded. I was
Didn't care about you.
I'm giving this to him no matter what.
He doesn't like your bucket hat, probably.
He was like, probably not. I looked exactly how I look right now. He was like, "What is this guy going to say?"
I'm wearing pants.
And so they're getting ready for an elimination game. He's clearly annoyed, but I'm giving him this story anyway. And so over the weekend, Lorenzo Cain, former Royal,
I know that guy too.
He was designated for assignment. He's maybe retire, maybe he'll sign a short-term contract with somebody. I don't know. He's probably not going to be in the major leagues anymore. He hit 10 years in the big leagues. They DFA'd him. It was, his career has been great, but he won a championship with the Royals in 2015. The moment of that year was when Lorenzo Cain scored from first in Game 6 of the 2015 ALCS on a ball down the line that he really shouldn't have scored
against Toronto.
Against Toronto,
baseball.
Look at this! You're a genius.
Look at me.
And he scores from first, and nobody really sees it coming. The cutoff throw went into second base because they were like, "Yeah, he's gonna stop at third. He's not going home."
Idiots.
The person who caught that ball at second base, had to make the throw home, was Troy Tulowitzki. So I was like, Troy. So I told him this whole stupid story. I was like, this is the last time I saw you, Troy Tulowitzki. He's like, yeah. So I was expecting him to say, oh no, I wasn't expecting him to go home, and that was a crazy situation or a crazy environment and stuff like that. He was not having any of it.
He's still triggered about it.
He's still mad about it, or maybe he was just more mad that I was talking to him about Lorenzo Cain. But
maybe that too. So did you work that into the broadcast?
Nope.
Or you almost did?
No,
If he would have given you something, would you maybe work that in later?
absolutely.
If he would have told you a funny anecdote about
if
it?
he would have given me anything on it, I would have
Yeah.
worked it into the broadcast.
Yeah. Was that the same postseason where what's his bucket threw the bat after the home run? Was that the same postseason?
Through the bat
Remember
after the home run.
against
Jose
the
Bautista?
Yeah, was that the same postseason? Didn't they beat the Rangers or something? He chucked the bat.
Yes.
All-time moment.
That was
What a
that same
moment.
year, yeah.
What a moment. Good times.
Josh, look at all these baseball moments that you have in your head.
Yep. Now ask me about a game in May. I'll give you nothing. But I can remember the
I don't have a game in
occasional.
May either.
I know some October things over the years.
It was nice to hear that one time that you were going to be a Royals fan, and then you watched their games for 2 weeks, and now you've stopped.
Yeah, it just takes up too much of my time at night when I would rather do anything but watch the Royals. It's just tough. It's hard. It's like I don't want to watch them, so I probably shouldn't.
Maybe you should adopt a West Coast team.
Because of the late night?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to bed earlier again, so I got the long run. I got the long runs. You know, go to bed early.
So what time you go to bed?
On Friday night, I went to bed at 10:15.
Yeah, that's not.
I had to
gonna
wake
do
up at
for-
3:45.
That's not going to do it for a West Coast.
No.
I mean, you can get an hour in maybe.
Yeah, maybe an hour.
That's what-
Wake
that's
up
what
and look at the
Our
highlights.
good friend Michael Bruns. does.
Yeah, he's at father.
He loves the West Coast stuff.
He can't stay up as late as he used to.
He
be.
watches pointless, meaningless Mountain West football up until about 1 o'clock on Saturday
See, now,
nights.
that's the thing. I got to get my sleep schedule back on point for college football.
You're preparing
I can't
your
be,
body.
I can't be going to bed at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night in the football season. But luckily by then my race will be almost here.
Josh Peterson preparing his body for football season.
Doing what I
and
can.
the Royals have helped him there because they are uncompetitive, and he doesn't have to watch them anymore.
Bingo.
All right, guys. We're at Omaha Baseball Village. Connor Happer, Josh Peterson with you. About a half hour left before we send it off across the street to Charles Schwab Field for game one of the day, an elimination game between Stanford and Auburn. Drop by the Omaha Baseball Village and drop by the bullpen inside the Omaha Baseball Village to register to win a prize pack of a grill, Royals tickets. Hello.
Whoa.
Josh, not interested.
No, it's a great prize.
And ice cream for a year.
Because you get the ice cream.
And Mike Fahey. We'll come back more from the Omaha Baseball Village and the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. A lot of people will, well, you know, I had some bids here and just got to go with this guy.
We always ask the customer, did you get the referrals on those companies? Do your homework and check how long they've been in business. We try to stay really competitive. Doesn't matter if it's a Da Vinci wood shingle, asphalt shingle, vinyl siding, or hardy siding.
Just go with somebody who has the track record, right?
Right.
There's only one call to make. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
Well, you need to cool down, but the temperature's stuck. Call the pros in the big yellow truck. Peace of mind with no hidden fees. Heating and AC with the best guarantee. That says
always on time or you don't pay a dime. Always on time or you don't pay a dime. Now with heating and air conditioning.
Ted Wally celebrating more than 35 years of making the best ice cream on the planet. Truly an Omaha tradition. The ultra premium ice cream is everything you've been told.
All right, back here at Omaha Baseball Village, Connor Happer, Josh Peterson with you. It's the Connor Happer Show at Omaha Baseball Village and in front of the Men's College World Series in 1620 The Zone. Live hydration sponsor is Coors Light. Time for a hydration break. Presented by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. We got a text. Remember the text line?
Yeah, what was said?
People forget about the text line.
I haven't had it
You can
open
text
today.
into the show, 402-951-1620. Being a West Coast baseball fan is the best. I'm a Giants fan. I seriously love the 9 o'clock starts. I don't stay up every night, but the rest of the family goes to bed, and I can just chill out with some uninterrupted baseball. That's kind of how I feel.
I already miss late night things, doing things late at night.
I like when the Royals are on the West Coast because then I don't feel like, all right, their game's starting at 7. I got to watch them, and that takes up the majority of the night, and then you have to go to bed. You can watch the West Coast game as you are basically winding down.
Sure, you're in bed, you're snuggled up next to your wife.
I would call it bed mode.
My wife, yeah, where it's like you're ready to go to sleep, but you're not all the way there just yet.
Exactly.
Just yet. Yeah.
9 p.m. and later.
But then you have to watch the baseball. You really want to do that?
Well, the baseball's not good, but
yeah,
maybe one day there will be a payoff.
Yeah, I'd rather don't you want to like scroll through Twitter or something instead of watching the baseball.
I mean, that's basically what you do while you watch a baseball game.
TikTok?
Anyway.
Are you a big TikTok guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely not for me.
No, I mean, when I'm watching baseball, I'm not like
You're not
locked
dialed
into the baseball.
Every pitch.
Baseball is not a sport where you have to be locked into everything unless it's a serious like postseason game or something
like the Men's College World Series.
Like the Men's College World Series, exactly. But I'm scrolling through Twitter, reading some tweets, watching some talks, doing that whole thing.
Talks,
TikToks, yeah.
TOKS.
Josh says he has a question.
I got a question for you. So last week, Sam McEwen in his rewind, he asked 3 questions that I found interesting for the upcoming football season. He says, can Bill Busch fix special teams? Can Casey Thompson, Chubba Purdy, or Logan Smothers avoid the errors Martinez made? Can Nebraska run the ball without having to use the quarterback, which was never true for Martinez? 3 questions.
What the biggest one is?
That's what I wanted to ask you, but even maybe less so than that, which of those 3 do you think actually happens?
Oh!
Fixing special teams. And when we say fix, I think we mean like above – I don't know.
At least average.
At least average. We're not saying like a little bit of
I'm talking about break even.
Where they can actually flip some games. They could win a game because of special teams.
They would have to get a lot better on special teams to to break even.
Sure.
And I think that would honestly be a big improvement. So that's what I'm.
That's how we'll define that.
That's what I'm setting the bar.
So that will it can the starting quarterback, whomever that is, avoid the errors that Martinez made, and then finally can Nebraska run the ball without using the quarterback, which was never true for Martinez. And by the way,
most likely to happen.
That's been the latter one. Has been a sticking point for Sam, and rightfully so. He called that out earlier than anybody else that I can remember in the Nebraska media. Like, they're running him too much. He is too turnover prone, and it is affecting him, not to mention he's getting hurt all the time. So props to Sam. It's been a consistent.
You want to see a spreadsheet. This is my pride and joy of a spreadsheet.
Yeah?
Of basically the correlation is when Nebraska runs it with the quarterback too much, they lose. And some of it is like situationally dependent. Like you want your best player to have the ball in his, like against Ohio State, he's going to run it 20 times.
Yeah.
Because you sort of need him to run it 20 times. Like you need him to make a play on third down.
Yeah.
Right. But in a game against, Illinois, it's always their fallback.
Yes,
it is. It's always their fallback.
Immediately, things aren't going very well. Let's just run the quarterback a bunch.
Okay, so I'll say this. That is the most important thing to me. I would rank that number 1 out of the 3 on importance.
On basically don't run the quarterback.
Special teams breaking, like, you're not going to have as much success as you want to if the special teams don't get a little bit better. So like there's a scale there at some point. But I would rank that at number 1 in terms of importance. It also doubles as the thing that I am most scared of.
Most scared of?
I'm like, I think, we've talked about this. I think it's the biggest key going into the year. Like it's how they sort of figure out who has the reins of the offense. What do they do? I mean, first of all, who the quarterback is, what do they allow him to do? How much of the controls are they giving that person? Like, it's the biggest thing, how they manage that whole picture. And that has a lot to do with how much they run the quarterback.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, you look at the offensive line. That's why I asked the question to Shafe a little bit earlier. The chemistry, or perhaps lack thereof, just given that the offensive line never practiced together in the spring. They'll finally get to do that as the season, as training camp begins at the end of next month and into early August. There's a lot of pieces all over the place that just haven't been on the roster yet, and so they'll have to do that. Can the offensive line and can the running back room be good enough that they don't even have to rely on the quarterback? And I don't know the answer to that question. There seems to be that I've sensed like a lot of optimism with the running back room as of late.
I agree with that, and I think that position will be better, and that'll certainly help Nebraska out. But there's some of this, and this is what I've said from the beginning on it. I know the fallback excuse for them has been, well, our offensive line is bad, so Adrian's always scrambling and he's got to make a play for somebody. And you can't do anything without an offensive line. I think a lot of what they do running the quarterback has been a choice over the last 4 years.
That they won't just stick to running a back.
So independent of the offensive line being better and the running backs being better, you just got to hand it off to one of those guys. It's a choice.
Yeah. Well, think about the Minnesota game.
Some of it is a choice.
I bring this game up all the time because by this point, some of us knew about Adrian's broken jaw. Like, if I remember right, the week of the Minnesota game was the rumor press conference from Scott Frost.
Oh, I was telling people the week after they got back when he was on the field.
Yeah.
And I was like,
something's going on with his mouth.
Hey guys, did anybody notice that his mouth is wired shut while he's trying to play football?
So that happens. Don't forget as well, that same week, that was when he messed up his ankle in practice. Messed up his ankle really early in the week in practice. They come out. So I'm learning this stuff. They come out and they run an option on the first drive. You know he's injured. What are you doing? So I say all that to say you are right. It has been a choice. It has not just been, oh, man, the running game isn't working. Let's do something different. Let's get Adrian involved. No, they decided to run an option with their banged-up quarterback on the first drive of the game. You can't do that type of stuff.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid football. So
I think that I agree with you, by the way, on those three. That's the one that needs to.
What was the middle one?
Can the quarterback basically avoid the turnovers? Can they not be turnover prone?
I think a lot of that is based on the third thing.
And it's based on the person too, the decision making. Adrian did fumble a lot, but he also had some poor passes and poor decision making through the air as well.
I think, honestly, I've said this before, and some people are like, really? But I would have liked to see Adrian in a situation like they hope they can give Casey Thompson this year, or they plan on giving Casey Thompson this year, where he sort of is allowed to distribute. I mean, It's closer to what his situation was in 2018. Now, they ended up putting a lot on him toward the end of that year.
Definitely.
And then obviously heavy on Adrian's shoulders in 2019. And that's what led to the whole thing falling apart, basically.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when he started, he looked the best. I mean, as a passer, as a quarterback, he was never better than in his first 6 games.
No, he really
And Nebraska lost them all.
Yeah. And then go look. I mean, just go look at his freshman numbers. You're talking about games where he put up 400 yards, 2 or 3 times that season.
That first Colorado game, he was electric.
Yeah, he was a monster on the ground and through the air.
The best pass of his career came in that game.
Which
his
one?
First game, over the shoulder, dropped in the bucket to J.D. Spielman.
That was a sweet play. Very sweet play.
It was the best pass of his career.
Yeah, and it happened in his first game. Yeah, crazy.
So
positive voice.
That's where I would go on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We're getting you ready for College World Series Game 1 of the day. The fans are starting to file in. Should be a pretty good crowd on hand today, but my guess would be parking traffic a little easier than it has been over the weekend. Parking traffic presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com. And no injuries to note heading into this Auburn Stanford game. All hands on deck for both sides, trying to keep their stay extended here in Omaha, and that's presented by Methodist Health System. Personalized care when and where you need us. Methodist, the meaning of care. We'll come back and round things out before we send up to John, and Damon, and Gary for the broadcast here. You're listening to Connor Happer, Josh Peterson for the Omaha Baseball Village on 1620 The Zone.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, Here for a Reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
All right, back here one final time from the Omaha Baseball Village. Connor Happer and Josh Peterson with you, getting you ready for Men's College World Series Game 7. 7-7. And one of the day between Auburn and Stanford, an elimination game. 1620 The Zone. Live hydration sponsor is Coors Light. Time for a hydration break presented by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Josh, I was going to ask you, what are your keys to the game?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't ask me for the keys. I'll say this.
Pitch good. Hit good.
In all seriousness, mistakes. It's going to be about the mistakes.
Wow.
I think.
No, I think that's right.
Here, why don't I turn it to you? Hey, Hap, what are the keys?
Well, this is what I've been saying all weekend. Look at the teams who have walked people. I mean, so you're right.
Thank you.
Categorized as a mistake. Look at the teams who have been walking people. Look at the teams who have been making errors. And not cashing in when they get guys on base. It's not rocket science. These are basically the rules of baseball. Don't allow people to get on base freely without swinging the bat. Don't let them get on base because of what you did in an error. And when you have a guy who gets on base, drive him in.
And one of the things that I've been wondering about is are we going to see a comeback for a team that's down 3 or 4 runs? We've seen a lot of offense so far this year.
Exactly one lead change in this entire College World Series.
And that's a decade ago.
Men's College World Series.
Thank you. The complaining that we did was about the lack of runs. But I think the bigger issue in this ballpark, and maybe this is just guys pressing by guys being more nervous because of the stage. We just don't see a lot of those. We don't see a lot of games that can flip. I mean, think of the NBA playoffs and how we'd see teams get off to 20-point leads and then they still lose, and sometimes they lose by double digits. We just haven't seen those types of comebacks. One lead change, that's incredible.
Yeah.
We've had 6 games so far. That's horrible.
And in most of those cases, the team, in all of the first 4 games, the road team, the team that batted in the top of the first, I believe scored a run and never relinquished the lead.
Amazing. And you don't want
They tied a couple times, but they never relinquished the lead.
I would love to see a game that goes back and forth. I was looking, this is going to surprise you. Last night I was randomly looking at 2003 ALCS box scores. Red Sox versus Yankees.
Amazing.
Aaron Boone, people forget about it. And I was looking at the 78 Bucky Dent game box score. Anyway,
why were you doing this?
I have no idea what brought this up, but I was just looking at random box scores from those games. Lead changes. You saw lead changes. Red Sox got off the lead early.
Back in the 70s, we had lead changes.
Bucky Dent, he hit a home run, and then we said the F word.
So, we just don't see those here. Let's give me a fun box score, college baseball, please.
Okay. Josh is demanding a fun game.
Yes, at the Men's College World Series.
Fun
shopping,
as our good friend Nick would say.
Yeah, he's about to produce this bad boy.
He sure is. We'd also like to pass along happy anniversary, or I don't know what we would call it, but it's a very sad day. 11 years ago is the TD Ameritragedy tragedy.
I was here. I wasn't even working yet, but I was here at that event. I went with my brother. And we left, and they were like, go over to the basketball arena. There's glass everywhere. And we said, no, we're going to drive home. So we drove home. We survived. I'm still here.
We will rebuild.
And
we have rebuilt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Since then.
Yeah.
And now we have a
different stand blew over.
Now we have a different name for our ballpark.
That's true.
And it's called the Chuck.
Or Nick wants it to be called the Schwab for some reason.
No, I think Nick's in on the Chuck with us.
No, he's
right?
a Schwab guy.
That's stupid. Did you see Arkansas baseball tweet out today? They tweeted out their schedule. They said, blah, blah, blah. We depart from the team hotel. 5:00, gates open at the Chuck. Now, that's wishful thinking, by the way. I'm not sure if gates will open at 5:00.
Good one, Arkansas.
Arkansas's, they're not new around here, so you figured they would know. But we'll see if the gates open at 5:00. But they did call it the Chuck in their tweet.
Nice. Do they check the bathrooms? Do security check the bathrooms after a game? Could I hide in a stall?
I wouldn't encourage that.
No, I don't need to. I got the media pass. I'm okay.
I would just say that things happen fast.
Okay.
After they're trying to get people out of the ballpark.
They yell at you get out of here.
Yeah, eventually. If you hang around long enough,
all right.
And they're trying to get people back in, and pretty much immediately it turns back around. So, as a result, I would probably say that it is not as thorough as it could be as far as cleaning and clearing the stadium, getting ready for the night game.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it right there.
Don't hide in the bathroom.
But do not hide in the bathroom.
Ethan is now sending us box scores. This is fun.
Oh, fun box scores?
Yeah. It's let's see, who is this?
Oh, 25-22. Yeah, in the this is the Pac-12 final, right?
I remember that game. That was a lot of runs.
This is a couple weeks ago.
I didn't watch it. I remember the tweets though.
Yeah.
People were like, "Wow, this is a lot of runs."
That is correct.
I think the over would have hit.
UCLA scored 13 runs in the last 2 frames, not the 9th and the 10th, to win 25-22.
I think they scored 15 in the last 3.
I believe they hit a walk-off grand slam in that game.
They did indeed.
25-22.
That's a lot of runs.
In the first ever Pac-12 baseball tournament.
Wow. Memories.
Pac-12. Fun.
You know the best part about memories is making them.
I'd heard that before somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, get on over to the stadium. We're just a couple minutes from getting out of here. That would be the Chuck, by the way.
Not the Schwab.
Who's going to be in between today?
That would be.
Do we know the answer to this?
I believe it's Jimmy and Ravi. Let me check.
The Jimmy and Ravi show.
Indeed, it is the Jimmy and Ravi experience.
So Jimmy and Ravi, I don't know, depending on if they want more show or less show, they are rooting for
a fast game. Let's get a 2-hour and 30-minute game.
So we get the full Jimmy Ravi experience.
That's what we need.
So get on down here. Should be a little bit lighter today, and that's presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance. ParkOmaha.com. Josh, this has been fun. We'll do it again on Wednesday.
Let's do it on Wednesday.
We'll drink more lemonade and eat more seeds.
Oh, I love that idea. More lemonade.
John, Damon, Gary are taking over, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, okay. So I need to be better prepared for this.
What's up?
That's the
Got him! And it took 126 years, but doggone it, Mississippi State finally has a national title. The first team title in any sport in school history.
Now, from the Patera Landscaping broadcast booth at Charles Schwab Field, it's the National